Hello, everybody. We're back. It's the Elite City Podcast. We are off for a minute. Before we get started, I would like to say thank you to the people that reached out to me. A couple weeks ago, I had a friend of mine's mom pass away, and then I had a pet pass away last week. And like, you people just really blew me away on, I never met any of y'all, and you're reaching out on that. Thank you. That was awesome. And just really helped. Much appreciated. That being said, Mr. Rick is here tonight. We're going to do the Revolution preview. So how are you doing, sir?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm doing great. We're recording this because we used to use Skype to record things. So we're recording this differently now. So let us know if it sounds any different. I don't know if it will. I don't think it will, but let us know.
It sounds different in my headphones, for being honest. It sounds clearer, unless you're using a different mic and didn't say anything.
No, it's the same.
Oh, okay. It sounds way clearer.
Again, Skype somehow had a 20-year lead on video calls
and blew it.
Happened, and everyone needed video calls, and like nobody used Skype. Anyway, Revolution. It's gonna be fun. This might be the best. This might be the best show AEW's ever done.
I was just gonna say that this, just on paper, like the place will have to catch on fire for it to be bad.
And that's saying a lot because they have done a lot of really good pay-per-views.
Yes.
I was thinking maybe they've done some that weren't as good as the rest, obviously. Mm-hmm. But have they ever had a pay-per-view that's bad? Like that you've watched and gone, ugh, I didn't like that.
Not pay-per-view. There were, I'm going to say, we'll say around 4 to 5 episodes of Dynamite that I've had problems with.
Yeah, there was a few episodes of Dynamite where you watch it like, what was the point of that?
Yeah, but never a pay-per-view. Pay-per-view, even when those times when the Dynamites were lacking or sucked, the pay-per-view still delivered.
Yeah, and this one, like, not only are the matches going to be, matches are always good. Like AEW has never probably had a problem with match quality.
Right. Correct.
But like the stories going into this, there's so many feuds going into this that are just so well built and exciting, and that I want to see.
Yeah. Well, we'll jump right in. Right off the top, when your first match on, and this is from the AEW website, so again, take it with a grain of salt. You know how accurate they are. When your first match of the card is the Continental Championship between Okada and Brody King. I mean, that's the way to start. That's the way you start a show.
Yeah. That would be. I don't know if they like. We don't know what the actual match layout was going to be. That would be a good opening match because it's going to be fun.
Yeah, and it'll have a little bit of comedy in it. It'll get the crowd going.
Yeah.
Brody always gets.
They both have cool entrances that people like pop for.
True. I mean, it's Okada. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And just Brody doing the barking thing.
Yeah.
Always gets the crowd going.
How did they somehow get cooler? Like Malachi
I know.
left, and they got cooler. Like they just I don't know how.
I know. It was like that double-edged sword, like to think about it now, like was Malachi holding them back, or was that part of their mystique? Like, we're seeing them more now. So it's like, oh, it's cool.
Right.
I don't know. It's that weird, but I agree. They do come off as way cooler all of a sudden.
Malachi was, I'm not going to get into this a lot, but Malachi was really cool when he first showed up, but he kind of became repetitive after a while because it was like he would give like a cryptic promo about something and then like, okay, yeah. But it never really went anywhere. So I like that they've seemed to grow a little bit, and they're just like, I like them now. Like I've always liked them, but they're doing even better now.
That was a good choice of words, saying that they've grown, because it is evolved into this. And I like how they've said that. Excuse me, I'm tripping over my words here. I like how they said that they don't have a leader; they're 3 equals. Like I think that's
also
really
makes
cool.
It that they don't have to always be together.
Exactly. Yes, and me and you have talked about that in private. Like, there could be a tag team there could be mixed tags. I mean, just with them 3, there's so many probabilities.
Yeah, like, I know Buddy, I think he's hurt. He got hurt in Australia. Right?
Yeah.
So like, but Brody can be a singles wrestler for a long, and then if he ever needs backup for anything later. Like Buddy will show up or Julia will be there or like, but they don't always have to be with each other at all times.
Right.
It just works. I think they're doing a great job.
Now this one is, we're going to do our picks, obviously, or at least that's what I planned on doing.
Yeah.
Okay. Woohoo. Anyways, this one's hard. And I've already started off on a wild card because I never win these damn things anyway. So I picked Brody King, and I'm going to go with, it's time for him to have. I mean, I know they had the trios titles and they were good trios champions. I think it's time for him to shine a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. Even before the official breakup, when Malachi was still there, like Brody's, I think it was during the C2. I was just like, just give him a title. Like he should have a title.
Yeah,
he's over. He's good in the ring. His matches are fun. I agree. I don't know if this is wishful thinking, because I also would like Okada to move on and do something else, because he's kind of had the Continental title since he showed up, basically, like in a few months in. True. Yeah, I think Brody, and I think you're right. He deserves it. It's time for him to get something.
Agreed. It's just time.
I forgot that there were trios titles until you mentioned trios titles.
That's awesome. I forget who the trio. Oh, it's Pac, Wheeler, and
I don't think they ever once defended them. They're completely pointless. But anyway,
that is true. They or did they defend them like once or twice?
I think maybe once. But even when Copeland and FTR were going, they weren't facing the three that have the trios titles.
That's true. That's hilarious. Amazing. And again, if your second match on the card is Swerve versus Ricochet, and that's following the Continental Championship of Okada and King, the build on this has been, I mean, obviously I think they're doing it on purpose. It is not on purpose, but it has had a very Monday Night Raw / Nitro vibe to it, like the whole program.
The build on it has been great. I've loved it. I love how Ricochet is doing. I didn't think he could be like a jerk, cocky heel, but he's incredible at it. Like he's doing a wonderful job. I don't really care about the robe, to be honest. I understand why. I understand the point of involving the robe, because they want to make it like something that Prince Nana cares, but I don't really care about the robe. And they haven't really explained the robe. I know once they did. It was somebody's robe.
Correct. Passed away, right?
Yeah.
And he was the head of Nana is head of the embassy, and he was like the protege. He was like the Swerve of Ring of Honor.
Right.
Okay.
It's just always weird. I remember, not to go on a tangent, but I remember Bret Hart and he was named John Pierre Lafitte at the time. It was what's his name? Pierre Ouellette. He still wrestles, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, in TNA.
Yeah.
Him and Bret Hart had a feud when he was like a pirate. Do you remember that?
No.
He was a pirate at in 1995 or something. Like it was. Anyway, he was stealing stuff from people, and he stole Bret Hart's jacket. And then they were like, "It's the jacket Bret Hart wore when he won his first world title." And like, I don't care, but I was like I was like 13 years old or something. I'm like, even I didn't care about this jacket. Even I, as a like young teenager, was just like, "This is stupid. I don't care about the jacket. Like, this is dumb."
It's incredible.
Whenever they bring out clothing and talk about how important it is, you're just like, "Oh, someone's damaging that."
Oh yeah, totally. This match it's also, we forgot to mention, it's also the winner becomes the number one contender for the world title.
I like that. They don't do that very often in AEW.
I know, this is very cool because it's like it makes sense and it's like a cool stipulation, and they're not even involved in the world title now per se.
And I like because they used it as a way to make Ricochet take the match.
Yeah, it was like, they had to sweeten the deal a little bit. Oh, so good.
This is a good feud. I love the feud.
Yeah. Real quick on the contract signing, spoiler, go back and watch it. I know I always complain about like the WWE face whenever they overreact.
Yeah.
Whenever Swerve hits him and he like rolls over the table, Ricochet's face is like, I literally rewound it 4 times in a row and he couldn't make that face again if he tried. It is hilariously like 1930s stage show, over the top, like eyes wide, mouth wide open, fingers spread apart. It's just perfect.
He's so much of more of a character than I ever thought he was. Like, I only saw him occasionally in WWE. Like, I didn't watch regularly, but I saw him from time to time in WWE. I just figured he was athletic, he was a good wrestler, but I never saw him as like a character, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
but he's done such a good job of it.
I mean, we didn't know Claudio could cut a promo for 10 years or 8 years.
I wonder if it's WWE didn't let them, so they didn't, or if it's they came to a new company and they were just like Ricochet, which is like, oh, I'm going to come to a new company, I'm going to have to do something new. So he came up with this on his own. Like, maybe WWE gave him promo time and he was just not interested, not good at it at the time. But like sometimes you go, they shunned me, I'm going to show them. Right. And you come up with something different. I don't know. But either way, he's doing a good job.
Heck of a job. I have Swerve in this.
Yeah, I have Swerve too, only because I think Swerve's lost a lot.
Yeah.
Like he lost to Lashley, which was fine. Like, that made sense because Lashley just showed up. He lost the title when he lost it. He's lost a lot. He lost to Hangman. And Swerve can lose a lot because he's Swerve and he's super over, so it doesn't really matter.
Exactly.
But I think maybe he needs to win something. And I don't think Ricochet is going to go for the world title right now, but Swerve obviously could.
Yeah, you picking Swerve too?
Yeah, I'm picking Swerve.
Okay. Moving right along, and for the next one, I'm gonna have to say, it's gonna make sense why I'm picking, but I can't unless it happens the way that I picked that it happens. I'm only taking the point that way. MJF versus Hangman. The build on this, in my opinion, started a tad slow, but hit high gear very fast.
The promo they did in the ring, like, I don't know, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
that's when it kicked up for me, and that's when it was great. Like, since they did that promo about Max being like, deep down he's jealous of Hangman. That Hangman, Hangman basically does terrible things too, and people love him. Why don't they love MJF?
Right.
And Hangman's point was like, I'm not faking, I'm real.
Right.
It was, so they're both so good. MJF is so good at when he's at his best. MJF has periods where he's generic and boring.
Yeah.
And he's had that since coming back. A lot of that has been like, I'm going to make fun of your sports team and tell you you're ugly. Right. Like, that was, but when he's motivated and when he's in a good feud, he can make it so personal and add so much to his character.
Well, this is why I picked. I think this match is going to go to a draw.
Oh, all right. I can see that, actually, because
there's no way that this just ends. Like, there's not even going to be a winner, and there can't be, in my opinion.
I don't think it ends either. I'm picking MJF for that reason, because I feel like MJF will cheat somehow or do something and he'll win, and then it'll have to continue because it'll be some like suspect thing. Like, I don't know, he'll knock the ref out and do something like that. Right. But I can't see it being over. I think this is going to last, especially because they've already decided that the winner of Swerve Ricochet goes for the world title. True. Hangman and MJF have to do something else, and why not just continue this? Because it's been good.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. I obviously see MJF could do something the way you're saying it too. So I don't know. I just see a draw just to, you give the fans that little taste. I don't know. It would be.
We've talked about this a couple times, and it's involving both of these guys a couple times. When before the podcast started, but like we were still talking. When they had the Hangman Kenny Omega feud back for the world title, that was like, oh, of course it makes sense to have these guys feud. They're the two main guys, right? So put them in a match. When they had like Mox versus Kenny Omega, the two main guys, and when they were doing Hangman and Punk or Mox and Punk, it's like, oh, the two big main guys are in a feud with each other. This feels like that. This is like, these are the two main guys. Like, they're not the champion right now, and neither of them are. But they're the two, like, when you think of AEW, if you ask anybody who's ever watched AEW, they're like two of the first few names that you would come up with are Hangman and MJF. It feels like that. It feels like this is a major thing.
Agreed. Now the rumor on the internet, and the internet can be wrong. Hate to break that to you, Rick.
I don't think it's ever been wrong.
Oh, okay.
A lot of truth on that internet.
I don't know his real name, so we're going to go by his WWE name. A lot of rumors thinking that Baron Corbin is going to be Team MJF.
Oh, okay. I could see that actually.
Same here. And then everyone was like, how ironic would it be if Baron Corbin comes out and starts beating up Hangman, and then Hangman had Wardlow, and then all of a sudden Wardlow comes back. I was like, man, the internet rules.
I forgot about Wardlow.
Same here. Till I read that Blue
That's
Sky.
the one I kind of feel bad for. Wardlow got screwed a lot.
A ton.
And by various things. He got screwed because he was in that feud with MJF when MJF left for whatever reason.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
He got screwed by that. He was it was a big part of the CM Punk MJF thing, and then CM Punk left. So that wrecked that. Whenever he got involved in something, it seemed to just drop off the face of the earth. So, and now he dropped off the face of the earth. So, he was in the Adam Cole thing, and then Adam Cole got hurt. It was just.
Oh, wow. Well, it's common denominator and all that.
Yeah. Maybe it's Wardlow.
He's cursed, apparently. Sorry, Wardlow.
Get Dan Housen out there to.
I know. Uncurse him.
Can he uncurse people?
I think he thinks he can.
All right.
I don't know. Moving right along, we have a tag team match. Now I have a bunch of asterisks on this one, so my next few picks have too many scenarios that could happen. The Hurt Syndicate versus the Outrunners. Before we even get started, somewhere in this match, the Bucks return. I don't know how.
I was thinking that just as you started talking and you said asterisks, I was like, oh yeah, the Young Bucks makes a lot of sense.
The Young Bucks return. Now, I don't know how they're going to return, but there's two ways this could go. But by the way, I'm picking the Hurt Syndicate to retain.
Yeah, same here.
Okay. Bucks return. And they cost the Hurt Syndicate the titles and put the Outrunners over their baby faces. Okay. Bucks return, come back with Brian Cage and Lance Archer, take the Outrunners out so they can so the Hurt Syndicate keeps the belts. And then you have the Bucks, the Hurt Syndicate, and Cage and Archer as the three main teams of a revamped division. Those are all my asterisks.
Yeah, I hope they don't come back as faces, just because I don't think they're very good faces, the Bucks, especially at this point in their career. They've been good faces in the past, but I feel like right now, they'd get cheered showing up because first of all, they're returning. So almost everyone who returns gets cheered.
Absolutely.
Especially they're returning in California, so they would definitely get cheered for their return. But I don't think they're particularly good faces at this point in their career. The baggage that they have attached to them, and they love to go with what the internet thinks, right? So the baggage attached to them is they're kind of obnoxious, and a lot of people don't like them, and they cause trouble backstage or whatever. They trying to be faces seems like it's going against what everybody wants to treat. Everybody wants to treat them like heels, so you kind of have to treat them like heels. It's like Mercedes, when Mercedes first showed up, she had to get, she was definitely going to get cheered because she was showing up and the circumstances around her, she was going to get cheered, but she should be a heel, just her personality and the way half the internet feels about her. She should be a heel because you're fighting against the crowd if you're trying to get cheered. I feel like the Bucks are the same way. They'd be fighting against a portion of the crowd that doesn't want to cheer them. And they're better heels, in my opinion. They're obnoxious jerks, and they're good at that. So I hope they don't come back as faces, but I can see them coming back, but I don't know how, because my thinking was the Hurt Syndicate, basically destroys the Outrunners. They get some offense in, but they get crushed. Right. And that's how because the Hurt Syndicate has been kind of getting face reactions these days because they're just cool. People like them.
Yes.
But if they destroy the Outrunners, then people would probably boo them, which is probably what they want. But then if the Bucks return to save the Outrunners, that makes them faces, and I don't like that. So I don't know.
Even the lead going into this match, there's one thing that happened when the Outrunners won, and they went backstage, and they went up to MVP, and they were like, "Hey, did you see that we won?" And MVP, this is my favorite part of the whole feud so far. MVP says, "Oh, welcome to the big dance. You'll be swimming with the Great Whites boys." And Turbo Floyd goes, "Oh man, I thought we were going to wrestle." that was by far probably the funniest moment that wasn't scripted on AEW television in the past 2 years. I laughed so hard because he was like, "Oh man, I thought we were going to wrestle." He was kind of let down, and how Bobby Lashley, MVP, and Shelton Benjamin didn't laugh.
Yeah,
because it would have been over right there. I'd have been done. Yeah, I agree with you. I hate to say that the Outrunners are getting sent to the wolves, but going back to what we always say about Swerve and how cool he is, the Outrunners are so over right now. If the Hurt Syndicate just destroys them, you're right. It will help the Outrunners in the long run because they'll get the sympathy,
right?
But it'll really help not help. It'll cement the Hurt Syndicate as absolute heels. Oh right. Man.
But yeah. I do agree with you. The Bucks are going to come. I just don't know where, unless they come back and they're kind of like tweeners, because that would make sense. Because I mean, some people are always going to cheer them. They have a lot of fans, so maybe
like you said,
to do it,
especially there, unless they wholeheartedly screw over. Like the Outrunners. Say the Outrunners are they're just hit their finisher. The Bucks come out, super kick them, and unless they do something legit screw the Outrunners. Yeah,
I guess they could accidentally screw the Outrunners, and that would
then it keeps it kind of gray. Yeah,
keep a kind of gray area. Like they come out and look like they're trying to save them, but they accidentally hit them, and but then they just walk off like, oh well,
oops. See you Wednesday.
Yeah,
wink, wink. Oh,
that might work.
I love it. Okay, so we both got the Hurt Syndicate.
Yes.
Another championship match, TBS championship match, excuse me, Mercedes versus Momo Watanabe. This is an obvious one in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's obviously Mercedes.
Yeah.
Again, this is my last asterisk. Billy Starks gets involved, and Billy Starks is going to be the one to dethrone Mercedes.
That would make a lot of sense, especially because they're involving her. This sounds bad. I don't care about this match. Not that it's not going to be a good match. I know they've had matches before and they've been good. I don't care about it because it's blatantly obvious. Mercedes is winning.
Right.
She's not going to. This is not how she loses her title. No offense to Momo, but she's been on AEW TV twice. She's not going to be the one.
And they're not going to put the TV title on somebody going back to Japan who's not going to be on TV.
Yeah. It's blatantly obvious she's not going to win.
Yeah.
The most interesting part of this is the involvement of Billy Starks. The fact that they've had her be backstage and get involved. Yeah, I could see that. And where's Athena, by the way? Why is she not on AEW TV?
Well, they're. I don't know. I have a theory on this too. I was stumbling on my words here. Athena is still the longest running champion in Ring of Honor history now.
Right.
Mercedes and Athena had I don't know if it was Blue Sky or X Twitter or whatever war, whenever she threw the drink in Billy's face.
Okay.
Instantly they started going at each other on social media.
So are Athena and Billy rivals again?
Well, she in Ring of Honor storyline, she fired Lexi Nair, and everybody thought Billy was gonna be the one that was fired.
Yeah.
And she forced Billy to keep her end of the contract. So,
all right.
So Billy is trying to break free, and everyone said this is how she's gonna break free, and that I'm gonna use air quotes here, get the call up eventually, sometime after this to be on a main roster and go after the TBS title.
Just as you're saying that, what I kind of want to see now is Billy do that, get called up, face Mercedes, and maybe get really close to beating her and not beat her. right? Like, so it's really close, but like Mercedes still wins. And then she's like, oh, but I got so close. I want another match and have another match. And again, get really, really close and then lose again. And then have Mercedes be like, I can't be beaten. And then Athena comes back being like, oh, really? And then she goes after Mercedes.
I thought that, and the perfect end of that scenario is Billy dethroning Athena in Ring of Honor.
Yeah. Like maybe say Athena wins and she wins both belts. She still has the Ring of Honor title and the TBS title.
True.
And then Billy can dethrone her for one of them.
Yeah.
Like maybe with the ROH title, take that one. And then I don't know. It'll be the fallout of this match will be fun. I'm sure the match will be good. Like they're both good wrestlers. But I'm not that interested in it just because it's pretty obvious what's gonna happen.
Yeah. And like I said, like everybody knows Momo's going right back. I mean, she won a tournament to get this match. She's just here to have this match.
Right. Yeah.
So good choice of words. The aftermath is going to be very interesting because there's a few big players in the game here.
And I want we've been saying this for months. Mercedes needs like a long feud. She's had a lot of short feuds that go from like one pay-per-view.
Yeah.
But she needs something more in depth because she's great in the ring, obviously. Her character is getting really good now. She's got an idea of what she is, and she's doing a good job. She doesn't cut long promos, but the ones she does are good. She just needs a feud now to cement her.
Agreed.
And she's not that she needs to like position herself as a top wrestler because she is. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying she needs a big feud to like position herself as a top player in AEW because right now she's kind of just on her own. She has her own matches for the TBS title and they're all good, but she's like, I don't know how to explain it. Maybe you can explain it.
I think I know what you're trying to say. Like this is cementing her character in AEW. Like she's no longer Sasha Banks.
Yeah, like in the AEW universe or whatever we're calling it. Yeah.
Real quick, a little on topic, but off topic. Did you watch her YouTube video that when she was preparing for Wrestle Dynasty in Japan?
No. Actually, maybe I did. I think I might have.
Did you? This kind of made me funny. Excuse me. This kind of made me laugh. None of the Japanese female wrestlers called her Sasha because that wasn't a real wrestler to them.
Right.
I was like, that's kind of funny. I'm sorry. Anyways, I agree with you on that. She needed to shed that. I don't want to say bad mojo because there was no bad mojo with Sasha Banks, but that persona, she needed to get rid of that.
Like she's obviously a different character now.
Yeah. And this has solidified it. So
now she just needs a really big feud and then that'll set her off. That'll set her on, like put her on top.
And again, well, we'll get there. Hold on. Moving along. I have to come back to Mercedes eventually, though.
Yeah.
Ospreay versus Fletcher in a steel freaking cage.
Ooh.
I have Fletcher winning clean.
Yeah, that one's tough. I think my first thought is Fletcher because that'll put him over super huge. And Ospreay is like another guy who like it doesn't really matter if he loses. He's super over. He's maybe the best wrestler in wrestling right now. Maybe.
100% agree with that.
But I'm gonna say Ospreay just because I have no reasoning. I could see it going either way.
Same. Hold on, I'm just writing this down.
Now, in AEW, cages are pinfall, right? They're not like escape the cage, except for that one time when House of Black made it be escape the cage.
Yes. Yeah. It's they lock you in and it doesn't open till
that makes more sense.
Yeah.
So someone's jumping off the cage is what I'm saying.
100% someone's jumping off the cage. Now, my next question is, how does Don Callis get somebody else in there? Because that's going to happen too, right?
He's going to like cut through it. Like he'll have wire cutters or he'll do something. Didn't he have wire cutters once? And what was the match? When he stabbed Kenny Omega, didn't he have wire cutters?
Oh, yeah, he did.
That was a cage match, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes, it was.
It could be that.
Yeah, he gets in somehow.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, see that like the crazy part of this whole thing is who has Ospreay's back?
Yeah, because Kenny Omega's kind of moved on now.
And Kenny has a match.
Kenny has a match, yeah.
Which, according to the posters, next. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know who has Ospreay's back. Somebody's gonna have his back. I don't know who.
Yeah, like
who else hates the Don Callis family? Oh, if it's Jericho, I'm gonna be so upset.
But like, I mean, actually, Jericho did something really awesome on Ring of Honor this week, and I was blown away by it. And I was like,
he's been involved in the Don Callis. He actually, to Jericho's credit, he's been okay recently. He's not. I don't watch ROH, but he hasn't been on AEW that often. And when he's been on, it's been fine. Like he's been relatively funny. It's been fine. The matches have been good. Like Jericho's been fine. This is what Jericho should be doing, in my opinion. He's doing fine.
Well, a Ring of Honor, he dropped the whole gimmick and went uber serious, and I hope he takes it to AEW because it was awesome.
He kind of dropped it on AEW last time. He was talking about he talked about the Bandito match. He wasn't like, "Hi guys." He was just Chris Jericho. So
true.
Maybe he's moving on from that horrible gimmick. But yeah, I don't know who has Ospreay's back. Someone has to.
I mean,
Darby. Is Darby going to come back?
There's rumors that Darby comes back, but does it make sense there?
I mean, they had that little talk, right, where Darby's like, "You need to help us," and Ospreay's like, "I will later." But then they've kind of dropped and thankfully so, they've kind of dropped the "we need to save AEW" thing.
Yeah,
so maybe that doesn't. I don't know. I'm not sure. But like you're right. Someone has to have his back because it's going to be like the whole Don Callis family.
Yeah, and like obviously they're teasing that like Mark Davis isn't happy, but Don Callis owns his contract. But it's like that's the easy one. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like
Davis is going to just be a heel. I don't think. I think he's going to just give in and just be a heel.
Yeah, like that's the red herring because it's too easy for him to like. Yeah, he walks all mopey all the time and like come on.
His match is going to be incredible though.
Oh, if you're not blown away by this match, like you're blind. Because
I saw someone say this online, and I think I agree with it. You know, the AEWs for years since all the stuff with Punk and all the WWE guys have been like, "Oh, we have to restore the feeling. We have to get it back the way it was." Did Ospreay just bring it back on his own? Because ever since Ospreay showed up like a year ago, like what was it, like a year or so ago when Ospreay came out? Like it's just all been better. Like every show has been better, and it's not just him. Like the whole show has been better.
True.
But did he just like, I don't know, like it feels like he's not the star level of like a CM Punk or a Bryan Danielson. He's not. I understand that. But remember when Punk showed up and then Cole showed up and Danielson showed up and you're like, "Oh, this is a whole new thing now. All these guys are here. This is a whole new," like it does kind of seem since like Ospreay showed up and has been full time. Like obviously he was there before, but like since he signed full time and has been there all the time, it's been like a whole new thing. Everything, the show has more energy. The show's different. Like it's not just him, but this whole show has changed since he's been around.
When you get rid of crabby, curmudgeon-y old men who just try to fight people all the time.
I mean, they've dropped a lot of the WWE guys, right? Like Miro's gone, Malachi Black's gone, like the guys who didn't really Andrade's gone, the guys who didn't really want to be there.
Poor Andrade.
like even what's his name? Ricky Saints, whatever we're calling him now.
Ricky Starks.
All the guys who didn't really want to be there are gone now. So maybe that's it. Like everyone who was kind of in a bad mood and kind of just didn't want to be there and was kind of like, "Oh, I just can't wait to go to WWE." Like they're all gone. And maybe that made it better. And that just happened at the same time.
That's a great point. I mean that I can't disagree with that. That's a great point.
But anyway, Will Ospreay's great. Yeah. And so is Kyle Fletcher. This match is going to be awesome.
Oh, it's going to be so good. And then we have the international championship. Takeshita, who is the international champion, versus Kenny Omega. The little video package they played on this was like, it really puts it in perspective how young Takeshita is, because he looked like he was like 7 years old in the video.
Like a child in those videos with Kenny Omega. Yeah.
And like they weren't that long ago.
No, but he looks like a 12-year-old boy in the ring with like a slightly younger Kenny Omega. Like Kenny Omega's younger, but he doesn't look like a kid.
This match is going to be one for the ages, I think. I mean, this is the passing of the torch moment.
And it's several things. I think Omega really wants to make Takeshita as like the guy. So he's going to go all out. He hasn't had a singles match since he came back, has he? Kenny? In AEW.
Not in AEW, no.
No. So I think he wants to prove that he's still the guy, like he's still a top guy. I could see this being the match of the night. They're going to go crazy.
Oh yeah, they're going to go nuts.
And not like there's like 4 or 5 possible matches of the night on this show.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, this match is going to be awesome. I think it is a passing of the torch. I think Takeshita wins because Kenny Omega again doesn't need to win. He's Kenny Omega.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it'd be fun if he had the title, but he doesn't need it. Right. And then this does solidify Takeshita as like that he beats Omega. It puts him up there of like Orange Cassidy level international champion.
Yeah.
Like, Orange Cassidy was the workhorse. Takeshita would be the guy that beat Omega.
Like it won't immediately push him into the main event only because the main event's super crowded.
Right.
But it'll push him to like the top of the next level guys. Like after you get through the Moxes, Copelands, MJFs, Hangmans, then it's going to be Takeshita. And that's where he should be. It's going to be great. He's awesome. So the match will rule. And then he'll spend the rest of his life being like, I beat Kenny Omega 3 times. It'll be fun.
And he's like, he's so cool. Like, I didn't think he could be cooler. And he's like, I don't want him to be a babyface now. Like, he's such a cool heel.
I didn't think he could be a heel when he turned heel because he seemed so likable. But he's just done a good job of it.
He's just good at his craft.
Yeah, he is.
Okay, we have the Women's World Championship. Timeless Toni Storm versus Mariah May with the Hollywood ending promised.
If Cope isn't going to win the title, I think this should be the main event. I don't think it will be, but I think it should be the main event.
I agree. I don't think it will be the main event either, but if Cope doesn't win, I will be very upset if this is not the main event.
Because it's been everything. The matches have been great. The storyline, they've been feuding for like a year and a half, and it's been awesome. Like they had that promo on Dynamite, that sit down thing when Tony, which is like, you're not gonna die, you're just gonna be forgettable. It was so good. All of it's so good. They've gone back and forth where Tony's been the bad, Tony was kind of bad at the beginning, and Mariah May seemed like she was like being victimized, and then she turned heel, and then she was obviously bad. And then they've gone through periods where like Tony has the power in the relationship, and Mariah May is desperate to beat her, and then Mariah May has all the power, and then Tony's desperate to beat her. And now they're back where Tony has all the power, and Mariah's like crying. She's so desperate to beat. Like, so good. Everything about this. This may be the best thing AEW has ever done, just because it's been on for so long.
Totally agree.
Like they've had good feuds. They had Omega and Hangman. They had Punk and MJF that were like good feuds, great feuds, wonderful. Yeah. Some of the best feuds I've seen in wrestling. But just because this has been so long and so great the entire time, this might be the best thing they've ever done.
I have to agree with that. That's it's so good. Now, I have Toni Storm winning.
Yeah,
but here's I said I was going to get back to Mercedes. If the aftermath of that match, of the Mercedes match, is what we think it is, involving Athena, Billy, one form or the other, both of them, right. That leads to one of them, as we said earlier, taking the TBS title. And I have a feeling that Mercedes is in line to go against Toni Storm next, which that would be unfreaking believable.
Yeah, I think that's going to be all in. That's going to be the women's title match, because Tony's so over, and so like the only one who can beat her is Mercedes. I think you can't really have anyone else beat her now. Like Mariah worked her way up and got to her level to the point where it made sense for have Mariah beat her. Yeah, but that's because they had like a year build. like to build up Mariah May into what she is now. I don't think, and that's not a shot at anyone else on the roster. Like there's great wrestlers, there's great characters, but I don't think anyone else is anywhere close to Toni Storm's level.
Agreed.
And I think it has to be Mercedes. Anyone else would feel wrong. Like I love Willow or Stat or like a bunch of other wrestlers, but like it would feel wrong kind of for them to end this.
Yeah,
I think Mercedes kind of has to do it because she's the only other star who's at like Toni Storm's level.
Yeah, that is true. Oh man, I did have another asterisk on this. If, and this is an if Mariah May would win, the curveball I think would be that the Outcasts reform, but under Mariah May. Like the Outcasts come back, Saraya and Ruby, and you think they're going to help Toni, and they help Mariah.
I would like to see that because they've both done the gimmick where they steal each other's appearance.
Oh yeah.
And I could see Mariah like just stealing the Toni Storm Outcast. She hasn't stolen her Outcast gimmick yet. She stole like her Rockstar gimmick. So maybe she could. That would be fun. I would like that. But that wouldn't be the ending of the feud. Then I don't think
that's true. No,
and it's supposed to be the ending. So this is like what's the holiday? It's like it's a falls kind anywhere, no rules kind of thing, right?
Yeah, anywhere in the building.
This is gonna be fun.
It's gonna be very fun because there's gonna be like stupid like Hollywood tropes.
Yeah. I kind of want it to be like one of those matches where like maybe this is like the second match on the card. You're like, what? They're doing this second? But then it goes through the whole show. Like they end up backstage brawling and they end up outside and then like, oh, the camera crew can't find them. We'll catch up to them. And then they do another match. And then when they come back from that match, they're in catering and they're fighting. And then they get lost.
Oh, that would be incredible.
It goes through. It's like an hour and a half long match. It just goes through the whole show. That would be fun.
That would be awesome. And there has to be like, I want them to be like fighting and then just be like, oh, look, there's Bill Murray. And it's like, what? Like, just things that make zero sense. It's like I like Steve Martin sitting backstage. There has to be
weird stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, we both have Toni Storm, or did you have Mariah? I can't remember.
No, I have Toni.
Okay. Well, we finally made it to the main event, and that is the Men's World Championship. Jon Moxley versus Adam Copeland. I'm not calling him Cope, and I never will. It's stupid. Sorry.
They've kind of dropped it. It's still on the on like the poster, and when they announce him as Cope, but everyone calls him Adam Copeland, and they're just like, yeah, because it's a dumb name.
Yeah, it's like
it's a fine nickname to call him Cope, like how we call Moxley Mox. Right, like it makes sense. But like his name isn't Mox. No one's announcing him as Mox. That would be stupid.
Right.
So Cope is fine if like you're using it for short form. Like we call him like Sidney Crosby, you call him Sid, but like he has a name. So,
right. It's
a dumb name. They shouldn't have ever tried to change it. They should just use it as a nickname. But whatever. They've realized it. They don't really mention it as much as they. Remember the first show, they were constantly like, there's Cope, and you see Cope wrestling. Here's Cope again. I'm like, okay, stop. We're not, it's not going to work.
Bad.
Like, it's not working. It's a terrible name.
This has a two-way street. I don't think Copeland wins. And here's what I think is going to happen. I think Mox retains, but I think that Josh Alexander or Speedball Mikey Bailey is a Death Rider, and they help Mox win. That's what
I could see, especially Josh Alexander being a Death Rider.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows who. Everybody in that building will know who they are.
Yeah.
They've basically said the last 2 weeks there's Wheeler Yuta was the only one left, and then he got beat, and then it was like there's none left.
Right, well, that's true.
That's what I think is going to happen. So what do you have on the table?
I had Cope winning until this week. The whole thing I had Cope winning because I was like, oh, he lost in Australia, and that was kind of weird. We never got to do our Grand Slam recap. Great show. Awesome show.
It was wonderful.
But I thought it was weird that Cope just like lost that match because like, oh, if he's challenging for the world title, why is he just losing like the month before? So that was weird to me. And the only thing that made sense is, oh, he lost that match so that he could win the title, and it would be more surprising. And then he started taking out all the Death Riders, and I was like, oh, that's how they're going to do it. They're going to have him finally get one-on-one. I thought there should have been a cage match if they weren't already doing a cage match. With Ospreay. And, I didn't mention it, but unrelated, sort of.
Yes.
The Mega Takeshita stuff is great. I love it. But why were the champions fighting for the right to face the challenger?
I don't know. It bothered me. It was so dumb.
It should have just been the other way around because
100%.
Kenny Omega challenged him to a match, and it would have made perfect sense to go, oh, Kenny Omega he hasn't been around in a while. Why should he get a title match? Let's make him go through some other matches before he gets that would make, but like, why was it Kenny Omega challenged to a match and then somehow Takeshita had to fight in matches? Like, why?
It's that EVP power, man.
It was very weird.
It was.
Anyway, so I thought there should have been a cage match because that would have made sense. Oh, that he lost in Australia because of all the interference, but now they can't be interference, but there already is a cage match, so they couldn't do that. So sure. I thought Cope was winning. Everything pointed towards Cope winning. But now they've made it seem too obvious like Cope is winning. They had Wheeler Yuta like walk off being like, oh, John Moxley doesn't respect me. And like, yeah, that seems like Wheeler Yuta's going to come back and everyone's going to think he's going to help Cope, but he's just going to stay with Moxley. He's going to just side with his team. He's not turning. And they're trying to throw you off from the inevitable Wheeler Yuta run in.
That would.
And the other thing is when Jay White came out, it was like, I have Adam Copeland's back. I'm like, oh, that seems like someone who's going to turn heel.
Yeah, that was it. So much could happen during this
randomly unprompted to be like, I will be on Copeland's side. I'm like, that seems like someone's trying too hard to convince you that he's going to be on Adam Copeland's side. That's what that seems like.
Yeah.
I think Mox. I thought Copeland up until this week, up until Dynamite. And then I was like, oh, I think it's going to be Mox. And I like that they made it more unpredictable because I'm not sure now. I was 99% sure it was going to be Adam Copeland, and now I'm not sure. So I like that they made it unpredictable. I think what happens is Wheeler Yuta shows up, and you think he's going to side with Copeland, and he just helps Mox. And every Mox match has a Wheeler Yuta run-in, so they've made it a bit less predictable by making it seem like, oh, who's he going to help? And then once Wheeler Yuta comes in, maybe the ref will throw him out or whatever. And then Jay White comes out. You're like, oh, he's there to help, even up the sides. And then he turns.
That would be fun too. Oh, there's like you just said, there's so much that could happen and so much that would make sense that could happen.
Something big has to happen at the end of this because if it's just Mox chokes him out and then it's over and the crowd's silent. Like that's a crappy way. We've already ended like 3 pay-per-views like that, and it's a crappy way to end a pay-per-view. It drained like the first time it made sense when he first choked out Danielson. It was like, oh, that going for like the shocking, the crowd is stunned ending, right?
Yeah.
Then they just every show ended with him choking out somebody and just winning, and then you're like, this is just a downer. Like it's just not it. Like you're all hyped up, you're excited all show, and then you're like, oh, it's over now. Mox wins again. Like it was weird. So I hope they don't just end it like that. I hope something happens.
Agreed. And don't forget, I just thought of this. I mean, Christian's the wild card. He has the contract.
Yeah, that's an option too. I mean, I thought Copeland was going to win and then Christian was going to challenge him.
Yeah.
I thought that's where this was going, but now I don't see that. But they haven't mentioned Christian in a while, so maybe they're trying to make you forget about Christian because he's going to cash in.
True. I was thinking they could throw you another curveball and have Mox win clean, and then Christian comes out, and then he gives Copeland his contract. They hug it out, and then he beats Mox.
Yeah, I still like my ending. I think I mentioned on the podcast a few weeks ago where Christian comes out and the Death Rider just beat him up, and like he wastes his cash in because they just like get disqualified. And they beat him down and they're hurting him. And then Copeland saves him and they reunite that way. That would be a fun ending, right?
That would be.
Say Mox chokes out Copeland. Everyone's upset. Then Christian shows up. Everyone's like, oh my God, Christian's going to cash in. And like the Death Rider just beat up Christian. and like he doesn't get to cash in or he wastes his cash in because they just beat him up.
That'd be great.
And then everyone's more upset because they're like, oh, what's possible? Who can stop these guys? And then they get together and it's the two of them. That would be fun.
Oh, that would be awesome.
And that would be a fun ending. Them hugging it out and being together for the first time in however long would be fun.
Oh, so it's going to be great. Oh, so
it has to end with something other than Mox just winning, because they've done that too often now.
I mean, there's also, the rumors have started flying that Danielson might not need surgery anymore.
Oh, there you go. I think he'll be at in. I think he'll wrestle.
You know what I mean? Like, these stem cells, they've really helped people.
Yeah.
And if, not saying that he can wrestle, next month, but
and not every month or something. But
right. Yeah. Like if a doctor was like, hey, these stem cells have made you X amount of % better. If you want to, you could be on the road every week, you cut a promo, or
you could have like one match and then see how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah. And then have a match in we'll say a month, in April, and then be like, okay, that was okay. Then have an all in match in July, and then 3-4 a year.
Yeah.
And
and when we're talking about Mox winning, especially if we think Swerve's going to win, I do think Swerve's going to win.
Yeah.
I think Swerve versus Mox is more interesting than Swerve versus Copeland.
I agree. Adam Copeland deserves everything. He would be an amazing champion. It would be fun to see him, and
he's made this feud better. Like this Mox.
Oh yeah.
This Death Rider stuff is interesting now. It's been very repetitive and dull for months. But they've made this feud has been good. They've revived it, and it's mostly Copeland. He's cut good promos. He's done a great job. Him winning the title would be really cool. I just can't see it.
Agreed. Well, do you have any final thoughts, sir? Before
I don't. Other than this may be their best show.
Agreed.
Ever.
Like I said,
they've had great pay-per-views. So many great pay-per-views. But this might be their best show ever.
Yeah. Like I said, on paper, unless the building catches on fire, there's no way that this isn't incredible.
Yeah, because there's if you think of which matches, every pay-per-view, there's these couple matches are the ones I really want to see.
Right.
Right. Outside of the Mercedes one, which it'll be a good match, but you know who's winning. And maybe the Outrunners match where I don't think the Outrunners are going to win. That's pretty obvious. Outside of those maybe two matches, the rest of it is all stuff where either you don't know what's going to happen or you want to see what's going to happen, or
and there's multiple ways that things could happen. It's not just either A or B is going to happen here.
And sometimes predictable is good, right? Like when Hangman beat Kenny Omega, everyone knew Hangman was going to beat Kenny Omega and win the title, but it was still great. Like you still wanted to see it. But this has so many things that the matches are going to be great. Like how can any of these matches be bad, to be honest?
Yeah.
And the stories are all good. And when's Dynasty? April? It's soon, right? It's April or May.
5th, April 9th, something like that.
So it's coming up soon. So they're going to have an amazing show. They're going to have a lot of feuds coming out of that show. And then that's when AEW heats up, because then they have Dynasty, then they have All In. You told me earlier today, it's in 12 weeks or 16 weeks or something.
16 weeks away. Yeah. It's not.
So this is going to be great. I'm really excited.
Yeah. Yeah. To put it in perspective like that, I was just bored and I was like, oh, All In. It's only 3 pay-per-views away. If you don't count this one, there's only the April, May, and June pay-per-views before All In.
And if we do this recap in a week and talk about the show and recap it, if it's not outstanding, I'll be shocked.
Same. Like I said, something would really have to go wrong.
And several things.
It can.
Right? The building would have to catch on fire. Several things. Because maybe a match doesn't live up to what you expect it to be. Maybe Omega Takeshita, it just doesn't click and it's not the best match. Or Mox and Copeland isn't the best match. Or someone gets injured and they have to cut a match short. All those things could easily happen.
Right.
But there's 6 other matches that are all awesome.
That's what I was just going to say. What are the chances that
there'd have to be 5 or 6 random unconnected problems that result in the show being bad. I can't see it happening.
Unbelievable.
One person breaks their ankle, and then someone gets caught in traffic and they can't show up. Then someone else is like, the cage doesn't work properly, and then another match, the ring breaks, and then the third. That's the only way it can't be, unless something tragic happens. I can't.
Or that, yeah.
This show is going to be awesome.
Totally agree. Everybody, don't forget, follow us at Elite City Pod on all social media, even YouTube. We are there too. And again, just thank you for reaching out during those times. It meant more to me than you will ever know. And again, thank you, Rick, Biddy, and Jay. Also, you guys were the best during all that too.
And Biddy's not here, so she can't beat us.
That is true. That is true. We forgot to make funny picks in her name. Damn it. Oh well.
Weird. Biddy picked CM Punk for a lot of these matches, which I was surprised by. And Jay really thought Miro was going to win. I don't know. I'm confused.
Hey, wild cards.
Ricky Saints? What's that?
I refuse to say that name. It's the dumbest name. It's up there. Did
you see his, not to go off topic, I know we're ending, but did you see his entrance in NXT?
No.
It's like if you were like, okay, let's do his AEW entrance, but we can't do it exactly. And then someone who just heard the concept of his entrance was like, let's do the same thing. It's like the theme is like 80% the same. The lighting is 80% the same, but like worse. Like somehow it looks worse.
Come on. It's like, just do something totally different. Like, I don't know.
Their whole thing is like, we're the big leagues, but we're just going to do the exact same thing. That's
what I mean. Just do something. You have trillions of dollars.
Right. You could do literally anything.
Yeah. Like you could have made him Luchasaurus and then changed that gimmick. Like,
yeah.
Anyways, enjoy wrestling. There's a lot of it this weekend. Have fun and be safe, everybody. Until next week. Later.